You're listening to the Basketball Lab podcast with your hosts Mark Shannon, Mark Clark, and Marco Corona. They'll discuss all the top news and stories from around the basketball world while giving their opinion and insight. Now, here are your hosts.
Welcome back to another episode of the Basketball Lab podcast. I'm your host, Mark Shannon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Clark and Marco Corona. You know, right now we'd be gearing up for another NBA season. We'd be right in the thick of things. More than likely, if it was based off of last year, Toronto Raptors would be getting their rings based off of last year. The Lakers would be probably getting their rings starting today or in the next couple of days at least. But, we're stuck here in sort of a lull period. The draft is in a couple weeks. Free agency is probably not until at least or the latest December 1st. But there is some news to talk about. We got Stan Van Gundy going to the New Orleans Pelicans. We've talked about that on the last couple of episodes about how he would be a good fit for there. So what do you guys think about the signing? And I mean, I'm pretty sure I know where we're all going to stand on this, but do you guys think it was a good signing for the Pelicans to bring in Stan Van Gundy?
First of all, I like what you did there, and I don't know if you noticed. I think you know where we're all going to stand on this. That's right. Well done. Exactly. Well done. I like what you're doing there.
Good job, Barry.
No pun intended.
No, or maybe pun intended. Listen, we talked about this last week or a couple of episodes ago as well, that this would have been the smart move, and clearly they were listening to our podcast, so we appreciate you, New Orleans Pelicans. Shout out to Zion and all the boys down there. So
that was me. I sent a copy to them.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay, that makes sense. Thanks for doing that. This makes sense. A guy who come in and has a reputation of building young teams. Again, I don't think this is, a championship hire, but this is the right footprints, the right base. Everything needs a base to start, right? For this young franchise, young team rather. To get a guy that can coach, a leader, lead these young guys. Hopefully they can add sprinkle more veterans in there, but I think he's going to get him right. Disciplined, going to play some good defense, fundamental. And then, 2-3 years down the line, we'll be talking about another hire, because that's just the way, things evolve in sports, right? You get hired to get fired for the most part until you get to a certain stage. And honestly, I think the biggest winner of this is Zion Williamson. Honestly, I think that this is a big hire, and he's going to help this young man develop. I think, I don't know if you guys agree with me, that he is the next face of the NBA. I mean, clearly the NBA is trying to push hard for this guy, even though he went to Duke. Shout out Tar Heels. That he has to be the guy, and I think that they have the right person leading the charge in Stan Van Gundy, and I like it. If I'm a Pelicans fan or an NBA fan, period, which we all are clearly, this is the right move. Good, kudos to them.
Yeah, 100% agree with what you said there, Marco. He's a good veteran coach, especially for the young team that's there in New Orleans right now. He's a championship coach. He won with I think was Magic with Orlando in, I think, 2009.
Well, he didn't win a ring there, right? But I think, was he not there with the finals or no? I don't think so. No, he was not.
No, I don't remember. I think he was there in 2009 when I don't remember, but I think so. And then he was with. Honestly, I was a little bit surprised when his name came up, because he's been out of the league for, well, I guess it's not too long, 2 years, because he was with his last coaching job was with Detroit, right? With the Pistons.
Before, who took over.
2014 to 2018, I think. So 2017-18 was his last coaching season. But he's a pretty good veteran coach for the environment and the culture that they have in New Orleans right now. He should fit right in with that team and bring them places. It will be interesting to see what kind of offense he runs with Zion and Josh Hart and Ingram and Ball. I'm really interested to see what he does with those guys. But kudos, as you said, kudos to them for hiring him, and good luck to him down there. I think it's a good fit, and he'll definitely take them places.
Yeah, and not for anything. I know you want to jump in here, Shannon, but on the flip side of the hire, he's walking into a hornet's nest of a conference. I mean, Golden State's going to get better. Obviously, they have the two guys coming back in Clay and Steph. The Lakers are not going anywhere yet, right? Denver's there. Utah's there. My goodness, we don't know what's going to happen with Houston, but I mean, nonetheless, right? That Western Conference is stacked, and yeah, this is going to be interesting because this team was on the cusp of, making the playoffs. So now, does he get that extra 5-8 wins that maybe pushes him over the edge?
Yeah.
Through that last seed. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen next year anyway, what the makeup of the season is going to be, but it's that conference, boy, oh boy, it's stacked. So hopefully he can do a good job there. I think he will.
And I know they didn't make the playoffs this season that just ended, but they also have that momentum because they were actually, or they got better to the end of to the last part of the season, the regular season. And they also, what I think will work to his advantage too, the team basically already have a little bit of chemistry. They played together for some time last season. So it's not like it's the first time these guys are going to be playing together. They have some chemistry already. So
sure.
Let's see how it works out for them there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, going back to Mark's point, he didn't win a title. They did make it to the finals in 08-09.
Oh, okay.
They lost in the finals. But another thing going for him, like he brings veteran leadership in terms of a coaching role. He knows the game of basketball. He's a great coach. He's only missed the playoff twice in his coaching career, and now he's going to a team that is stacked full of youth. You've got Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday's there, whether he gets traded or not. Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Derek Favors is there. Nikhil Alexander-Walker. There's a lot of young talent on that roster that he's got a chance to build. He's got a chance to mold, to make them a playoff team. And you said it, Mark. They just missed the playoffs, making the playoffs this year. Yeah, they ended up getting an extra shot due to the fact of COVID and the bubble, but they had a shot at making the playoffs this year. If he's able to mold that team and get them humming along and playing good basketball, and Zion Williamson stays healthy, and Lonzo Ball starts, shooting the ball a little better. He's been working on the offseason so far from what I've been reading. He's been working on his shot a lot, getting into the gym. Brandon Ingram, I know I believe he's a restricted free agent this year. He's got a chance to maybe jump ship if somebody gives him a lot of money. But if he stays there, they've got something there already built. They've got 3 star players or players that could be star players going on in the future. You know what I mean? It's not like he's going there with bare bones. It's just a team that's put together, right, with nothing. It's there's stuff there already for him to build. And like I said, he's never missed a play. He's missed the playoffs twice in his entire coaching career. He hasn't coached in 2 years, 3 years when he left Detroit.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good hire. It's a great hire from the Pelicans. We wanted Doc Rivers there. We said it would be a good choice for Doc Rivers, but I think Stan Van Gundy is just as good as Doc Rivers in my mind.
Well, the funny part about Doc Rivers and this hire is that I think the only reason we didn't say Stan Van Gundy at that time is because his name didn't actually come up as a guy that was a possible candidate. So obviously we went with Doc because I feel like as far as leadership is concerned and again, my emphasis was leading a young team. Those two guys are sort of the same, a voice that these guys can follow and execute, et cetera, to a certain point, because we've seen where Doc Rivers has taken you, right? And that's my point is that there's a certain shelf life. But yeah, this is great. And you know what? You made a great point as well that he's not walking in a situation that this is a 15-20 win team from last year, right? This is, to me, if you want to make an argument, this would have probably been the most attractive job that was open out of all the other jobs.
Yeah.
Considering where the path of, the trajectory of the other teams were. Philadelphia was a mess, right? The Knicks, forget it. I mean, whatever. Chicago is in flux all the time, so you never know what you're going to get with that ownership group. And now you have an established star in Zion, future of the NBA, Ingram, and all that supporting cast. So I think it's one of the most attractive jobs, and he landed it. Good for him.
I really hope they can keep that team, keep those guys together. And if Stan Van Gundy does at least a decent job at coaching those guys, they'll have something pretty special going on down there in New Orleans.
And tell you what, that's an attractive place to play. Leave it at that.
Absolutely. Keeping on with the coaching news, the Toronto Raptors, the Nick Nurse coaching tree has expanded again. Nate Bjorkgren ends up in Indiana. It was rumored that he was a front runner for that position for the last couple of weeks, and it's finally settled. He's now the coach of the Indiana Pacers. But what do you guys think about the hiring? I know I was seeing on Twitter, and a lot of Pacers fans were asking Raptor fans in the comments of certain stuff what they thought of Nate Bjorkgren. So what do you guys think about Nate Bjorkgren and what he brings to Indiana?
Well, I think that us having the advantage of watching from here, from the city, and watching how the team has developed this franchise, and everybody else under Nick Nurse's staff, etc. This is a great hire, and I think kudos goes to the Raptors organization as well as Nate for landing the job, because it's clear that now people are starting to look towards the North, right? And seeing, okay, what are these guys doing right? How do we pick, the talent from a coaching perspective away from Toronto, because they've won a championship. Nick Nurse took a team that nobody thought was going to be a contender this year, maybe fight for a playoff spot, and they ended up finishing, with the second best record. And kudos to Nick Nurse, but also kudos to that coaching staff. And I think that this is a pattern that's going to start growing. And you said it yourself, that the beginning of the Nick Nurse coaching tree. It's funny to say that, right? Because he's only been a head coach this is his second full season. But no, good on the Pacers for identifying something that has worked in Toronto and trying to bring that culture to Indianapolis. Because let's face it, the Pacers have been a very steady franchise for many years, but they, for whatever reason, have gone stale, right? And we talked about this, way back when the bubble started, and even when they made the coaching change, that they needed to change the pace. They were last in pace.
Yeah.
That's a bad pun, and I didn't mean actually to do that, but they were last in pace in the NBA, and they needed to just change things up, right? And hopefully this is also a carrot to dangle in front of Victor Oladipo for him to stay as well. So this is a very smart hire from all angles. See if they can develop some of the talent that I think, they have. And hopefully they don't start recycling coaches again. And it's funny you say that, Shannon, that Pacer fans were asking a lot of questions. I also saw a lot of frustration from Pacers Nation that, they don't develop talent. They haven't been able to maintain a steady ship, and hopefully this is the right move. And I honestly do think that this is the absolutely right move for that organization at this particular time.
Yeah. Funny you say teams are looking to the North, because I was thinking that teams are people usually trash talk the Toronto Raptors, but then at the end of every season, teams are looking towards the North to see what they can get from this organization. So it's funny you say that, because I feel like people say one thing, and then at the end of the season, it's a complete opposite, because obviously everyone's trying to get either players from the Raptors, or they're trying to get the coaching staff. So I mean, yeah, it's good to see that, and good on Pacers for hiring him. Congrats to him. Apparently, he's going to be playing an aggressive style basketball, which
Shocking,
is what
right?
which is what they really need, because it's the opposite of what they've been playing recently.
Boring basketball. That's what they played. But this is the thing though, because I had the Pacers as one of the teams that were supposed to be relevant, and I know that they had a couple of injuries late in the season. But the talent they have, they should not be as stale as they were before, right? And I know that a lot goes to Nate McMillan and the way he coached, but my goodness, like change it up, because whenever the fans come back, and I remember watching the Bulls in the 90s, playing in Indianapolis, or any team that went in there, it was a tough place to play, man. Those people got into it, and it was great. It was, when Reggie and all them guys were there back in the days, and even Pacers and Knicks rivalry, and Pacers and Heat rivalry, and the Bulls back then as well. It was great to see, right? But now they just need to get to that next level, and I think this is the beginning of something, and we'll see what management does to give them some pieces as well, because I think that if they're going to change the way they play, they're going to need some other pieces as well.
Yeah, let's hope that Nate Bjorkgren's style of basketball can switch it up for them.
But Nick Nurse's style.
I was just gonna say I was gonna credit Nick Nurse, because obviously he's coming from under Nick Nurse leadership, and this goes to show you that Nick Nurse is actually doing something good, and he's doing it the right way. That his staff now is getting hired in head coach's job. So shout out to Nick Nurse. And Nick Nurse is the kind of guy that he highlights his staff too. He doesn't try to keep them in the shadow. He wants them to go to be hired by different teams and stuff like that. But personally, I think with Pacers, for them to kind of turn things around, even though yes, they have a new coach and it probably is going to be a different style of basketball, I think the key factor is still with Oladipo. We mentioned this before in a previous podcast. He hasn't really been himself since the injury. Hopefully he can turn that around with this new coach too. He will be able to turn around his game and be a little bit more aggressive, be that go-getter, be what he was prior to his injury, and then I'm pretty sure they'll pick things back up and turn around, and things will turn around for them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Indiana Pacers, Marco, you mentioned it. They've been consistent. They've made nine of the playoffs to 9 of the last 10 years. Yeah, they haven't really made it far since, I think, 2013 or 2014, around there, but they've been consistent making the playoffs. And Clippers, Jesus, they're on my mind all the time. But Pacers.
That ain't right. We better cut that out, man.
Yeah, I know. Pacers fans, if you're listening and you're watching this, you've got a good head coach. He was one of Nick Nurse's, if not his most trusted assistant coach.
Yep.
He's going to be. He knows how to coach the game. That's you have that going for you. They already have. They don't have, like, it's again another thing where he's going in. It's not like he's got a team of bare bones, right? There's guys there. There's Victor Oladipo. Yes, he's playing on his last year of his contract. He could be a free agent next year. They've got
reason for him to have a great year.
Exactly. Even better reason for him to have a great year. A lot of players play
value.
Exactly. Malcolm Brogdon's there. TJ Warren had an outstanding bubble, right? He could come back and play. Domantas Sabonis was hurt.
Yeah.
He wasn't even
that
in
was a big loss.
You know what I mean? That's a huge loss. Miles Turner. They've got Doug McDermott, Justin and Aaron Holiday. There's a lot of guys on that team.
Some good players.
Right? There's a lot of guys that are on that team with a lot of good players. Again, it's somebody else going to a team that's not full of bare bones. And Bjorkgren could mold that team how he wants to mold that team. And they've got a lot of, and you said he wants to play an aggressive style. They've got a lot of aggressive guys on that team with TJ Warren.
Yeah. Sure.
Victor Oladipo's a guy that he loves to run downhill. He's always going. That's a guy that plays that aggressive style. Another guy, Malcolm Brogdon, his contract was huge coming out of Milwaukee. is he going to live up to that contract? That's something that we're going to have to decide in a few years' time. Bjorkgren may be able to get the most out of him.
Yeah.
But like I said, the Indiana Pacers got a good hire. He's going to be a good coach for them. Will he lead them to the promised land? Nobody knows that. Indiana has to open up the books and try and sign some free agents here, sign some players to fit that mold, to help this team out. They can't keep going with the same lineup year after year after year, and that's kind of what Indiana's done over the years. They've it's been stagnant, like you said. They've been stagnant, staying with the same unit. They stayed with Paul George for years before they shipped him off. Yeah. Sorry, Brick Paul. Sorry. Him,
Okay. I remember him. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
They stuck with him.
Way off P.
Right. Exactly.
Who?
Way off P. Come on now. They
Backboard P.
Exactly.
Wow.
Oh, man. There could be a ton of names for that guy.
Maybe that's a new segment. Maybe we can put that up on Instagram and TikTok and all of the social media outlets. A new segment called "Who Dat." I don't know who that is. I don't know who Playoff D is.
Yeah.
Wrong names only.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong names only.
There you go.
All right, let's put that up.
One.
Let's put that up. Let's get the people excited. Let's go.
All right, that's good. I got that one.
What was it called again?
Wrong names only?
Wrong names. No, but it's called Who Dat? Wrong names only.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. There we go.
Okay.
Put it all over the social media. You guys
sponsored by the Knicks because we won't get it.
Moving on from, I said it earlier. Clippers are always on my mind, I guess. But talking about the Clippers, they're on every.
Let me stop you right there. Hold on one second. Let's just make it clear that before we come on this show and record, that we talk about what we're going to talk about, right? Obviously. Yes. So the fact that my guy here is saying that the Clippers are on his mind, it's not that he's a Clippers fan. You're welcome. It's just that he's already preparing to talk to fan base, our big fan base that loves us dearly about the beloved Clippers.
Yeah.
Now you can go ahead. Go ahead.
They're never not in the news. Plain and simple, ever since the bubble happened, and they got knocked out by Denver, which again I'm gonna put a little plug in here. I called correctly, but
we'll edit that.
But they're just always in the news. There's always something. They're always bringing us some sort of news. We're always talking talking before the podcast or whatever about how, man, we're just waiting for the next Clippers news to break.
Pretty sure we can do a 15-minute podcast every day just based on the Clippers.
Literally, it could be called the Who Dat
we'll lose followers.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's just so much news with these guys, and there's so much talk. And maybe it's I don't know what you guys think about why there's so much talk about these guys.
Right. I'll tell you why there's so much talk about it, because they talked about it. They set everybody up for this fake ride that happened, right? And we talked about this a few weeks ago, the Three Stooges that did the video. Was it Four Stooges? I don't know. It doesn't matter. First of all, don't rip out the Stooges. Anybody who grew up watching them in black and white, stop it. But they told the entire world that they were the team in LA. So by hook or by crook, people bought it, right? And now an organization that doesn't have any relevant winning, facts are facts, and now are stuck with their tails between their legs. And that's why they're in the news, because they set up everybody else to believe, poor Billy Crystal, I'm sure somebody please check on him, to believe that they were actually going to do something and they didn't. So now, of course, we're going to talk about the team that failed, right? Because we all expected, listen, if you didn't say that it was going to be Lakers and Clippers, you either were not following or you're full of shit, right? And we all expected it. At one point or another, they had a 3-1 lead, guys. This was a wrap. So yeah, they're in the news for all the wrong reasons. And all the reasons that they're in the news are the very same reasons that we never heard coming out of Toronto last year. And that part still, to me, boggles my mind, because it came out that guys weren't happy with the treatment that Kawhi got. Now Tyronn Lue, who's been hired for 10 minutes, said that, it has nothing to do with chemistry, but rather I think it was fatigue and injuries. Oh, okay. Sure, whatever. So I don't understand. It seems to be an excuse for everything that's happening. And now the latest thing, I'm not buying it, but this is what the people out there are saying, that, an agent went out there and said that the Clippers are ready to sort of press restart on the roster. First of all, they're not. Second of all, then you better trade Kawhi right now, because that's not why he went there. He didn't go for a rebuild. He went for a championship. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong door, right? He should have went left, and he went south. So the Clippers are a funny team. I think that they're in trouble. Next year, to me, this is a massive, massive year for that organization. Maybe the biggest year in franchise history, because the year after the next season, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you have Kawhi who can opt out, and you have, Brick Paul can opt out as well. So they either better fix this now, or they're going to go back to being the same old Clippers, which is basically what we're talking about right now. So
let's just call it spade a spade. The LA Clippers are the new New York Knicks.
wow,
it is what it is. That and
whoa, holy, that right there.
That is exactly what it is.
That's
These
clipboard
guys,
material.
These guys count their chickens before the egg hatch. They made promises they can't keep. They had a parade in their heads that obviously didn't happen at all. They're just full of shit, and that, I'm just telling you straight up what it is.
Holy!
That's exactly what it is. They're just garbage. They're trash. All they do is talk, and they can't defend what they're saying.
Tell us how you really feel.
Did you have money on the Clippers? I thought I was going hard on the Clippers, and then you just came out winning.
I'm just trying to get the Lakers fans riled up here. You know what I mean? But I'm just calling it as it is. That's exactly what it is.
But you didn't say a lie. You didn't say a lie, and that's
exactly. Where's the lie? Where is the lie? These guys overpromised so bad and could not accomplish or couldn't even make a fraction of what they promised. It's just crazy, because I think it's just overconfidence, and overconfidence is a thing that can come back to bite you in the ass, and that's exactly what it did for the LA Clippers.
Which is ironic considering who their best player is, and that guy says nothing.
Yeah, but
get a peep out of him.
When you have the best player locked in and focused and wants to accomplish what needs to be accomplished, wants to get the job done, but you have, as you mentioned, Marco, the three stooges there just carrying on like cheerleaders and talking all the talk that they can't back up or defend at all. It, like, Kawhi alone can't carry a team. Kawhi alone can carry the team. Obviously, he didn't carry the Raptors. He had a good set of guys backing him in Toronto, and he goes to LA. They think they got the king. They think they got whatever they think they were getting, and it's all over for the Lakers, because they're gonna blow the Lakers, and they're going to blow every other single team in the league. And they straight up messed up. They straight up messed up. They were too confident, and it came back to bite them in the ass.
Can we tag Billy Crystal on this after?
I mean, we can.
Okay.
Tag LeBron too while you're at it.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna jump in and say that, Clippers fans, you were tricked. You were tricked.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were tricked.
You said it.
You were tricked. You were tricked.
Hashtag you were tricked.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You got tricked. You got tricked that you thought playoff P was coming, but you got way off P. Sorry. That's all it is. You know what I mean? You thought playoff P was coming, and it just, you didn't get that. You got Julius Randle.
Wow. I feel like
Wow.
Julius Randle would take disrespect to that.
Probably. But no, like,
Carry on.
I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's not Julius Randle. Paul George is a little bit better than that. But anyways, like, that's the thing. Like, and a lot of teams like this, you know, we're from Toronto, the Leaf fans, bro, they hype up their teams like they're up here. That's the exact same thing that Clippers fans and the Clippers players did to them. They hyped themselves where they were here, but as soon as they signed Kawhi and got way off P there, they were up here. They were at the top already.
I don't mean to cut you off, but the Clippers, they remind me of Fire Festival.
Oh.
That's what the Clippers remind me of.
Oh my God.
That's what came to mind when you bring up the 2019-2020 Clippers. That's what will ever come to mind. Where's the lie? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Dude, you are shooting to me from the logo.
They paid for Coachella and got Fire Festival. That's what they got.
Clippers fans bought their tickets. They expect to get filet mignon, and they got a box with a dry bread, piece of lettuce, piece of cheese, and a slice of tomato. That's all.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, it's like you know what? I was gonna make the reference. I don't even know if I should, but I'm going to. It's like they thought they were getting a Tupac album and they got Trick Daddy.
Similar.
I said what I said.
No, but seriously, like, it was just like, you know, they got Kawhi Leonard. They didn't really have anybody else that's done anything.
That's all they got.
Lou Williams, he's been there forever. He's just 3 times
Chicken wing.
right.
Sweet
He's 3 times.
Sweet lemon wing Lou.
Yeah,
That's the only guy who really won. He got a deal out of chicken wings or something like that.
Right, exactly.
And a lap dance.
Yeah. Wow.
3-time six man of the year. They have Montrezl Harrell, who's a free agent this year. They don't even know if they're going to keep him, if they're going to be able to keep him there. Other than that, what the hell do they have? Landry Shamet? Ivica Zubac? You know what I mean? Like,
What's your language?
There's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of talent there. Other than Kawhi and Paul George, there's not a lot of talent. There's, you know, like, it's not like they built a team that was already established. A team that was just about there, and Kawhi was the piece that took him over the hump. That's the exact same thing the Raptors did. The Raptors were just about there. They traded the piece that they thought wasn't working for a piece that was going to work, and we saw the results. They ended up winning an NBA championship. You know, there's no Kyle Lowry. There's no Fred VanVleet. There's no Marc Gasol. There's no Serge Ibaka on the Clippers. There's not. Plain and simple, there's not. And there's all this talk about, you know, them going out to get a point guard, them going to get – who are they getting?
Yeah, I heard they were shopping for a point guard.
Who are they getting? Drew Holiday. Because I don't think that anybody's going to want to go play in that with that team. I don't think anybody's going to want to go play with all the news that's come out about, you know, all the
Keep your phone close. They probably will give you a call soon.
No, I'm turning it off. If they're calling, I'm turning it off. Forget that.
So I told Mark, I'll rather go to New York at this point. I'll rather go to the Knicks because it's closer to home anyways.
Wow, I'd rather go to Charlotte, man.
Wow.
Like,
yo, nobody ever has said that.
Right?
No why?
Nobody.
That's how bad it is there.
That's how bad. I'm telling you, it's not.
I'd rather go to Charlotte.
It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better no matter who you put in there. Tyronn Lue was the assistant coach on the Clippers. It's not going to get better unless they change that whole team around and get rid of the pieces like Lou Williams and all those other pieces. The team's not going to get better. They're not going to battle for a title with LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Well, here's the thing. So all joking aside, if they can't do a roster overhaul, first of all, because I would assume that they are near a cap team. Second of all, they have no draft picks, right? I mean, they're going to have to
They gave away about 14 for Paul George.
Right. So
OKC has all their picks.
Right. So unless that it was a refundable draft pick for the next, 2 years, then they're not getting those back.
Well, it
You
was
have to-
refundable, but they already threw out the receipt. That's how
Dang.
confident they were.
Well, too bad it's not Walmart because they take it back. But otherwise, they're stuck with what they have. So
Yep.
Tyronn Lue has got his work cut off for him. Like, listen.
Good luck to him.
Now, I'm going to slightly disagree on one thing that you did say. There is talent within that other LA team, whatever they're called. They just need to figure their shit out quickly. They have 1 year to figure this thing out. I don't know. To me, that's the expiry date. It's like milk. Man, you better drink.
The Clippers?
The Clippers have an
1 year?
expiry
Okay.
date, and the expiry date, the clock starts right now. Like, the clock starts right now. To me, it's this year and that's it. To me, I can guarantee you, put this on the record, if the Clippers are not minimum in the Western Conference Finals, minimum, Kawhi and playoff P, or we'll edit that. Way off P they're gone. It's over.
But my thing, we're in the middle of a pandemic. There's not a lot of money.
They are the pandemic.
Well, true. He was nicknamed Pandemic P for a reason, but there's not a lot of money to go around, and it's not.
That's my point.
It's not like this free agent class is stacked.
No, but that's my point. They're stuck with what they have.
But that's what I mean. Like, how are they going to build a roster around those two guys? They can't. Not this year. Last year was their year, and a pandemic hit.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to compete with the Lakers. The Lakers there's talk of a lot of other guys that want to go there. Chris Paul, there's a lot of guys that are talked about possibly going to the Lakers. How are you going to end up beating a team that's already got that's got a little bit more depth to them? That's what the Clippers don't have, depth, and they're not going to find that in the open market. They don't really have first-round picks to trade because they traded them all for Paul George. So where are they getting these players from? For this 1 year.
The Clippers are the perfect example of when you're digging a hole, dig two. Dig one for yourself, because now they freaking passed out and they're stuck in that hole.
Jeez, man, this guy's going
especially with Lakers winning the championship. The Lakers is the most attractive team right now in the league.
You're right.
No one's gonna want to go to a Clippers who has no draft picks.
But not even that. Like, a Clippers team that there's so much news about there's so much rumors about locker room turmoil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who wants to go into a thing that's got that's cancerous? There's a lot of things going on in there.
Yeah.
Who wants to go in there?
New York Knicks vibes from the Clippers right now.
Yeah, unless you fix that within the first 10 games of a season, or you address that in free agency, there's nothing that they're not going to be able to get rid of that. Kawhi Leonard's still going to have his load management. Way off P is still going to be himself when it comes to the playoff time. So I don't know where they go from here.
And what's funny, and I hate to bring up the Toronto Raptors in this.
No, you don't hate to bring it up. You like to.
But you know what's funny? Kawhi now is getting criticized or bashed for everything he was endorsed, he was given in Toronto. Like, whatever special treatment he's getting in LA now with the Clippers, he basically was getting in with the Raptors, and the players around him didn't mind that at all. They endorsed it. Anything for Kawhi to be a better player and to help them win a championship. But now, because you have players in LA that they've been there like 2-3 years, they've been there before. They've been there before Kawhi, and Kawhi just comes in and he's the king over there. Obviously, these players are jealous of the special treatment that he's getting. He got. I'm pretty sure he got special treatment in Toronto, and you've never.
We know he did. We know he did.
You never heard anything from any of the guys, and basically that's how the Toronto Raptors. They're basically a brotherhood. They're a family. They don't they get jealous of each other, and obviously it's the opposite there in LA.
man, if I'm Tyronn Lue and I'm taking this team to training camp, whenever that is, check your egos at the door. There's nobody better than anybody else on this team, no matter what your name is. You know what? If you don't like what Kawhi Leonard's getting done, you don't need to be on that team.
Might be too late for that, though.
But that's what I mean. But, like, because that's not going to change. He's going to get his load management.
Unless they get rid of certain guys, it probably is too late for that.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying their window was last year, and it didn't come to fruition. I don't really think they're going to be able to pull it off in 1 year, with Kawhi Leonard possibly looming over their heads, Paul George maybe being moved or him leaving. You know what I mean? In the summer as well. That's a lot. That's 2 of your star players that could be gone within 2 years. And you mortgage your future on 2 years of not winning a damn thing.
You know why things aren't going to change for the Clippers? With these same guys that they have there right now, after every game, there's a certain set of guys that have a group chat, and that certain set of guys will be talking trash about other guys on their team. And
so basically, Lou Williams, Harold, and Beverly.
You already know who I'm talking about. And
yeah, just say the names, man.
If that doesn't stop, then nothing will change. It's as simple as that.
So what did we learn about talking about the Clippers? This is what I learned. Okay, that you gotta dig 2 holes for yourself.
Yeah. You got to dig 2 when you're digging hole for someone else. Dig 1 for yourself.
Yeah. Go to Charlotte, and the Knicks are better.
Where's the line?
That's what you got.
That's all facts.
That's what you got. 3 things that I never thought we would actually talk about. At least 2 out of the 3 for sure.
Okay. Enough with the Clippers talk.
Please.
Final topic before we end this thing. The NBA season, we don't know when exactly that's going to start. I know Adam Silver, or there was a report yesterday, saying that the NBA season would probably start around Martin Luther King Day, January 18th. What do you guys think about the season starting January 18th? Do you think it's going to be a full season? Like stuff like that.
I don't think it'll be a full season based on the intent that they want to restart the season in October. So it'll be a modified season. I don't know. What are you looking at? Maybe 60 games? I don't know what the math equals to, or I don't
Probably
know. Maybe,
about that.
I don't know what the math equals to if you start a season what the season would be in January until April. So I think it's going to be whatever the equivalent is of a season being January 18 to April. That's number 1. Number 2, if you don't know, if you know the meaning of having the season potentially start behind, on Martin Luther King Day, I think has more meaning than people can probably understand. Mm-hmm. Considering everything that the NBA has done with the bubble, with the Black Lives Matter movement, with social justice. You can argue that, whoa, it's a smart business move. Yeah, sure, it is. But I think that there's a reason why they picked this particular date. And I think it's, in my personal opinion, I think it's got greater meaning than what people, can actually imagine.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to happen. I do think, originally I was on board with the Christmas start, like have it start at Christmas, like Christmas Day, and you have basically that calendar for you. But to me, it makes sense. If you're going to go to October, the season was already pushed back as it is. So basically everything gets pushed back. You shorten the start of the next season, start January 18th or whatever the case may be. Hopefully it is the 18th, which will be phenomenal. And then you play the rest of the season just like if you were starting the season, like the season starts in January 18th, obviously, whatever the math is, and then you go from there. I think it's great. Hopefully, We'll see. And it's actually, if you think about it, it's not too far from now. So,
yeah, I don't see them playing a full season. There's no way they're going to play a full season. Let's just say, for conversation's sake, they played a full season for coming. When will they get back to the regular basketball schedule to what it was.
It
They'll
wouldn't be
never
October.
get back.
It
No,
wouldn't be. No.
they'll never
You'd have
get
to
back
keep
to a
pushing
regular
everything
basketball.
back.
Yeah, forever. It's gonna be pushed back and delayed forever.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much talk about it. January 18th is the date that they're set for right now, but it could start earlier, is what they've said, that it could push up a couple, like till January 1st or, the week after that. But my thing is, it's more than likely going to start January 18th just because of the messaging behind it. I mean, they could probably fit in a full game, but the full season, but you're getting triple like back-to-backs. You're getting a day off in between a game, and then you're back.
It's gonna be a hectic schedule.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight schedule. So yeah, I think it'll be probably a 60-game season, kind of like what they did in the MLB there. But
it actually works out to be about 60 games and change if you back it to January 18th. So you prorate the season from January 18 onward.
Yeah.
You're looking at about 62, 63 games.
Yeah, so
we're not sure if they're going to be traveling too. We don't know if they're going to probably do a bubble
whole other topic,
stay
man.
with a bubble, or if they're going to be traveling. So
yeah. I don't see another bubble coming back. I don't know.
No, I don't see it. I mean, you see the NFL's been able to do it, whether they've had their cases or not. The NFL's been able to do it. MLB's been able to do it for the most part, but so I don't think they're going to be playing in a bubble. Definitely not. But whether the Raptors will be playing in Canada is another question that that'll be decided on the next couple of months if they get rapid testing or the testing protocols change or whatever. But that'll be a different topic.
Exactly, for sure. There's lots still to come up in this year, and the pandemic has sort of the pandemic has caused havoc on the scheduling. But listen, I think they're going to make it happen. I think that, again, shortened season is better than no season, in my opinion. But they got to get it right. They got to get the health and safety first. That's the priority. Are fans going to be there? We don't know. To me, I'm okay with no fans considering what's still going on in our world. But if we can have some sort of basketball and everybody's safe, yeah, I'm sure that Adam Silver and the gang over there in New York are, writing up some sort of plan as we speak. So maybe they'll listen to our podcast too and throw some ideas.
Well, it's proven that they can do it. They can make it happen. It's just when. So hopefully they'll let it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Basketball Lab podcast. Thanks for joining us this week on the Basketball Lab podcast. Make sure to follow us on our social media. You could follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the B-Ball Lab. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Basketball Lab podcast, and you could also find us on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music.